Welcome to 27th August 2025 Thursday. What we had today was crude oil news at 10:30. So that was the high impact news, and just a couple of 3-hour SMTs where it continues and one of them reverses. So we did have the new day opening gap from bounce from here to there on NQ. So we'll take a look at that as well. This does look a bit messy, but essentially what we're looking at is the 3-hour SMT. So for example, this from here to here, right, you can see that YM took it, right? So now we're aiming for this low right here, because on ES and NQ, right? So we get that 50% closure from that high to here, and then that candle, that 15-minute candle, is the key candle where we want to see it read and go lower. And then also, can we see potential to even go to that raid? So let's take a look at that. So now navigating to that raid, we see the first break at 117. So that's the 15-minute range, don't forget. And what we're aiming for is at the highs there. So that's why we've drawn this blue box. So that's our range. And so we get a raid there, and we get a closure above the 15-second FEG. So that's inside, it goes inside the box at this point. So we want to see this raided and then come back in the box. So we see this raid here at 154, get a closure inside. Then we want to take an entry on that box and then aim for the highs right there. Now, if we take a look, we were actually aiming for this 1-hour FEG right here, right? This 1-hour FEG because of that SMT. So we want to see it raid, and because it took out this 3-hour low right here, we want to aim for the next targets, which is FEGs and potentially this. So we'll aim for the FEG and this low. Oh, sorry, the low that it had already created. So let's see if it gives us that target. So same thing here, 228 takes out that high, and we get a closure below. Right, 15-second on that FEG, closes inside, and we'll come raid that. The moment closes below, we'll take an entry right there, and we'll put a stop right there. And after this, all these FEGs should be honored. All the FEGs should be filled, goes to the target all the way to the 324. So you go partials there and that 15-minute FEG. Now, the other one was on NQ. We had a bounce. Now, we can take a look at the NQ actually. Right here. We had an SMT with YM, so between 3 to 6. So between 3 to 6, we measure, right? We measure from this high to the next 3-hour low, which is right here, because we had the high taken of the day during that time. So we want to see it break or close below this, and we're going to close below that right here at 8:30. So now, if we look at that 8:30, right, we'll get a raid right here at 9:06, close above. I want to see this get raided and then close inside of that. We don't get closure, we don't get closure until the new day opening gap gets triggered at around 9:45-ish. When we get closure above, entry right there, and then we want to exit right there. So that was for the NQ. The clearer version was more on YM, right? So YM, we had an SMT between these two. So we're just basically looking for every single SMT on a 3-hour, if it's happening, right? So these two were taken, it was not taken here. So I'm looking to see if we can get closure. We can get closure below that 50% mark right there, which we do on this candle, which is the 8:30 candle. Again, we draw that box around there. So let's take a look at the entry in the YM. So we get 905 first rate, it closes above, right? Closes inside again. We take that entry right there and aim for the highs. You don't have to go all the way to the highs. You can take profit right there, 329, or you can go for the highs, right? But this, you get stopped out, then it closes inside again. So we take that second entry. So we've got 2 losses on YM, and I guess it was waiting for 930 to shoot up. So that is why the third attempt closes above. Then we get tapped back in, and we aim for the highs. So there's 3 attempts, 2 losses and 1 win on YM. So that's pretty much it. We're just looking for that key candle that is closing below the 50% or 15-minute candle. And we want to see usually come up here and then continue, or we go down here, raid and then continue, or we raid below. And if it's multiple times like this, it's likely to launch out of that. So this candle is pretty much key for that 15-minute range, and that's what we're sort of aiming for. And that's pretty much it for Thursday, 27th August. Thanks very much.